Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. I'm going to wait a minute here for some more folks to come in. I'm actually starting this live question and answer webinar a little bit early this evening. But as you guys come in, I am going to ask if you do me a favor and please use the chat. Please do not use the question and answer. I know it's counterintuitive, but please use the chat section to ask any questions. But for now, if someone could just let me know that you can hear and see me okay, that would be great. You won't be able to see your own chat question, but I'll address you by name so you know that I'm answering your question. And you know that it's really live. There's also a file download, and I would appreciate it if you download that. It's an overview of programs, and it should have some information also on the upcoming sale. If you've been following us, you know that we only offer programs once a month. That's because a lot of our programs are give you a partnership option. And as a result, we want to govern and monitor the number of people coming on board, so we know if we need to stop the sale early or something else. And we only do it once a month. The next sale will be May the 10th and 11th. Starting at the 10th, that's the next offering. You can't buy anything right now. You have to wait. May 10th and the 11th will be the next time that you guys can come on board with us or buy one of our programs. And I'll mention another different angle with that. But anyway, that's the only time you can get it. It'll be May 10th and the 11th. And then again, after that, it'll be in June. We just do this again because we're very happy with the people we have on board, and we want to grow conservatively and strong and not get crazy with the number of people coming on. I have a full-time staff that can handle anything we throw at them, but we still want to monitor and govern the number of people coming on board. Very, very, very conservative financially and business-wise. Lynn says hello, or Rochelle says loud and clear. Pete says, I see and hear you. Hasha, hi Sean, I can see and hear fine. Carol says hi. Roderick can see and hear. Cheryl Williams, all good here. Thanks, guys. And Mitchell says hello. All right, so guys, I'm going to actually open this up in 1 second. The one thing I'm going to go over, only those of you that follow our YouTube channel are going to know about this, but probably by the end of the month, I have to look at a calendar to see the exact time, but by the end of the month, we are going to launch OPM Auction Winner. And this is a way we're going to teach you guys how to go and get property at auction, tax or mortgage auction, using other people's money. And we're going to blow it out for $197. It has nothing to do with surplus funds, has nothing to do with our typical D-flip program. This is about actually going to auctions. Now, if you in the past purchased our gold bundle, or you have APN, Auction Partnership Network, if you bought that in the past, it's no longer offered on its own. If you bought one of those, the Diamond Bundle or the APN, the Auction Partnership Network, you're not going to want to get it because there is some overlap between the two. But for those guys who have it, for $197, it's just a no-brainer to pick it up. And I think a lot of you guys, either through money you get through the surplus funds or D-flip program, or because you're eventually going to want to move into other areas, because we teach you how to do title work and all that. A lot of you guys are going to benefit from that. Let's see. Maria says, hi there. It's Maria. Denver says, hi, Sean. Emmett says, hello. Milford says, hello. Hey, Milford, you just got to check. Leo says, hello. And Denver, are these sessions recorded? Yes, Denver, they are. And you should get notification after it's over. It's only going to be about a half an hour. But you should get notification after it's over to where you can see the replay through the Webinar Jam program, which is what we're using. Also, if you go to YouTube and plug in our channel name, which is Surplus Funds Riches, all one word, just like our website, surplusfundsriches.net. Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. If you go there, we typically have the replays up the next day. So I would also check that, guys, if you're not seeing it. Also, I know that I'm mentioning right now, hey, there's a file download. Go download that right now, because I'll overview the programs and the upcoming, the offering coming up in May. But for those of you guys that are watching this on YouTube on a replay, obviously you're not going to have access to that. You can see that on the products page at surplusfundsriches.net. Fran says, hi, Sean. Mitchell says, hello from Maryland. Fantastic. Michelle, I should say. Gabriel says, hello. Guys, I'm opening it up. Any and all questions, fire away. We got a half an hour. Let's make the most of it. Any and all questions are great. Those of you guys that are members already, you know that if there's something I can't answer, Jeff, my business partner, is the moderator on this. He will jump in. If it's a more of a support question, like applying a program you've already purchased from us, we may lead you back to that and to use support. And the reason we do that, two reasons really. I don't handle that. Jeff handles the front line and underwriting the files. So I'm going to give you the wrong answer, frankly. Hey, friend, you don't see the chat. I covered this earlier. You don't see the chat. I'm going to respond to you and use your name so you know. But yes, Benny, we are on. So you can use chat. It's in private mode. Please don't use the Q&A section. I realize I see Milford just asked a question on that. Milford, please use chat for your question if you would. But anyway, if you're watching this on a replay, you're not going to be able to download this. But guys, if you're on here now through Webinar Jam, you can download the file download. You can also go to surplusfundsriches.net, click on products, and the download should be on there. If not tomorrow, then very shortly, probably by the beginning of the week. But let's go for it. Benny, you asked if we were on. Ask me a question, brother. Anything you guys want to ask me, again, avoid Q&A. Use the chat section, please. And I know it's a question and answer webinar, so why can't we use Q&A? But this is going to make it easier for me because I don't have to switch back and forth between two different areas where I have to check, okay? Stacy, can you do personal mentorship for just 15 minutes? I can't afford the full hour or half hour, but maybe might be able to do it 15. I desperately need to talk to a human. Thanks, Stacy. So here's what I'm going to tell you. And guys, you know I'm never derogatory or anything else. If you've read the book twice, I have a lot of people turn stuff in literally in a matter of days. If you've read it twice for comprehension, at that point, please use support. I know I'm talking you out of using our personal mentorship, okay? Because it's expensive, and in my opinion, the only time you're going to want personal mentorship for us, one-on-one mentorship through Zoom, the only time you're going to want that is if you're cranking your business up and you really want to pick our brains about upper-level stuff, because the programs are complete. So if you've got a question after you've read your ebook, okay, you should be able to ask a specific question that you're having trouble with. Use support as outlined in your ebook. That's completely outlined. There's a link. It walks you right through how to use support, guys. No, we do hour long, and that's it. Hasha, it is so inspiring and motivating when you show the board with the current cases under contract. I know I got to do it again, Hasha. When will the next time you're going to post a new board update? Probably next week. We got a lot going on right now, guys. Again, we're going to launch the book. It's kind of a give back program. It's $197 for guys that want to learn how to do auctions, actually go and win at auctions using other people's money. And we teach you how to do that. And that's a really insanely well written book. Goes into incredible strategies. That's 20 years worth of real estate knowledge and experience, guys, in that book. Is this OPM is the new program for the year. So every once in a while, Rochelle, usually January 1st, we launch any new programs. So this coming January 1st, we've got something in mind that's going to blow everybody's mind. But sometimes we launch mid-years. And the reason that I put this on now, Other People's Money Auction Winner, OPM, right? That's a Robert Kiyosaki term, OPM, Other People's Money. The reason we're doing it now is because there was a downtick with foreclosures going into November of last year, and now it's picking up. And it's exactly what I predicted because tax values have gone up on properties. So you're going to see people getting kicked out or rather foreclosed on in tax foreclosures because it's gone up so much. But you're also going to see it in mortgages because a lot of people don't understand if you've never had a mortgage is four parts: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So when the property taxes go up, that means the mortgage payment goes up. And right now, even though we've had a dramatic wage increase, it has not kept up with inflation. So you're going to see dramatic uptick in foreclosures. So I think now's the time to launch this. I think now's the time for you guys to get educated. And if nothing else, have your powder dry, be ready, know how to do it if you want to start doing that. And we went into targeting, how to avoid some of the major metropolitan areas and work the outside areas. All of it, strategy. It's a pretty intense ebook. I'm working the panning and I've come across a few HOA foreclosures. Seem like the HOA transferred the property to a SAL. I don't understand what that means, SAL, S-A-L. Would the money still go back to the owner? And are there any other things to know about an HOA foreclosure? Thanks. So, Carol, if somebody transferred using a deed, transferred the ownership of that property before the ownership hit, this is why not only do you have to research that, but you got to make sure there wasn't a transfer of ownership prior to the sale. Because if they actually transfer the ownership using a deed, I need to be very specific, to another individual or person prior to the sale, that person is entitled to the overage. Now, I don't know how an HOA could transfer a property pre-sale. They don't own it yet. Okay, they can buy it at the sale, but your question doesn't make sense to me. So please, if you want to rephrase that, I'm not getting what's happening. Fran, we spoke last week. I bought my package, read the ebook twice, saw all the videos. I'm having an issue getting the lists. So should I buy from Wallace at tax sale results? Also remind me why we don't work in Florida. Florida's a separate program, Fran. That's only available in bundles. The reason we did that is Florida statutes are dramatically different than any other state. So work another one. I mean, you can work 45 states, right? We don't want to take anything if you're going to be a researcher or partner with us. We don't want to take anything from Washington State, Colorado, or Oregon. North Carolina, you can't get a list. Only the panning guys can figure that out, can use that. And then Florida's a separate program. So you got 45 states to work. As far as getting a list, though, I mean, it's. I don't know if you're trying to go really state specific or work just your area, but trust me, if you just keep plugging in state names and surplus funds list, you're gonna find lists, guys. I mean, you'll scroll through it for days once you get the hang of it. Try to email support this afternoon with the address provided in ebook. There is no email address provided in the ebook, Denver. That's an address to get back with us on certain things, but that's not support. Support is a link, and you open up. It has actually frequently asked questions at the top, and you open up a support ticket. It is email based, but you don't email directly. You use the support ticket system. KC. Howdy. I signed up about a year ago and I'm finally able to get started. I checked for updates on the support pages and ebook. Is there anywhere else I should be checking? No, KC, apply your program and work it. The resources page has updates on it if there are any on that particular program. So just work it. I'm super freaked out to get started. Get rolling, Casey. Should I just knock it off? Thanks, Casey. Just work it, brother. You got the ebook, work it. Stop trying to look for problems. All right. So the resources page does have updates. You absolutely have to read the resources page in addition to the ebook. All right. I'm not making fun of you. It's just you're overthinking it. You're doing the analysis paralysis thing, man. Just start applying it and get rolling with it. How's the panning program doing, Cliff? Extremely well, Cliff. Over 50% of our deals are coming from the panning program. For those of you guys who don't know, that's a way to work mortgage overages where you can't get a mortgage overage list in about 20 states because the mortgage foreclosing attorney actually also handles the disbursement of funds, and they're not going to publish a list. So you have to create your own list. You're using a number of different sources, opening bids, final sales price, a number of different variables in there in about 20 states. And it only works in panning. We can't take that for National Surplus or Premier 16. It works in the panning system, which is available in the bundle, the Diamond bundle. It's expensive. It's $24.97. But that's a very powerful program. Good question, Cliff. Roderick. Are mobile homes included in deflips? Absolutely, especially if you've got the Florida program and some other areas, Texas. It's commonplace, mobile homes in a lot of areas. So we'll work them. Single family, we'll work them. I don't care. He was asking about deflips, guys, not surplus. Lynn, I just came on this month, still reading and learning. I've been practicing by finding cases on submission lists to see if I can get all the check boxes and learn what to look for. I look for it. That's fantastic, Lynn. Hey, just do it. It's okay if you guys make mistakes when you turn it in, right? Just you'll be told if you made a mistake and how to fix it, what to fix. B, I thought I remember a 100 file limit per month with exceptions. No, there's no exceptions. What are the exceptions? No, there's no exceptions. If you have multiple programs, does a limit apply to each program? It applies across the board, B. 100 files is how many you can turn a month. I'll tell you what, you hit that and then you contact me. Okay, that's a lot. And by the way, guys, we're having an issue with people that are partnering up with us, but then they're hiring VAs that don't know what the heck they're doing. All right, or a friend and they're having them do it and they're screwing it up, and then they're saying, "Oh, sorry, guy I hired just didn't do a good job." No, you're responsible for the work. Okay, it's not hard. If eventually you want to grow and do this on your own, you got to know how to do it on your own so you can teach people, right? Stop doing that. Do the work. Maria, great. Okay, say in a lien. Okay, say in a lien, once ownership has passed in a lien, one person to another, debt from someone other than the owner cannot be granted a lien against the property. My question is, which owner? For example, owner A sells property to owner B. There is a lien against that property before it is sold to owner B. Does that lien against the property now pass to owner B automatically, or does the lien holder have to get a new lien on the property. No, listen, if they lien, what you said was they granted a lien against the property. It stays there. People can sell property with quitclaim deeds, and you don't have to erase debt to do that. So if there was a lien and it wasn't satisfied against that property, and John sold it to Bob before the foreclosure, that's against that property even when Bob owned it. The lien doesn't go away because it changed ownership. Okay? Casey, thanks so much. I'm a former paramedic and think way too hard about things. I respect you, Casey. Hey, look, I'm dating my partner. I was married for years, but the woman I'm dating now, we've been together for quite some time, is a nurse. So I really respect anybody in the medical field a lot. And I think you guys are way underpaid for what you go through as a paramedic. Eddie, I contact the BK Court trustee to turn in leads for located funds. That's in our hybrid system, Eddie. You can get that as an add-on, or if you've already purchased from us, Eddie, our hybrid system teaches you how, if there was surplus funds, okay? If there were surplus funds, and the person went into foreclosure, or rather bankruptcy, 2 years before, about 2 years before to 2 years after that foreclosure date, the bankruptcy court has a priority claim to the surplus in front of everybody. Now, a lot of times it's not recorded, so you got to look it up. That's a great thing. It's a great little look. You're researching the case. There's too much debt against it, right? You can't go after it. There's all this debt against it where the people have died. It's just a nightmare. Go to pacer.gov, pacer.gov, plug in their name and their area, see if you've got a match. And the way you'll be able to tell is if any of the addresses in there in that bankruptcy court that are listed up when the person went into bankruptcy, if they went into bankruptcy, if any of those addresses match the foreclosure address, you got the right person. If they went into bankruptcy, you can contact the bankruptcy court and they will give you 25% just for telling them where the money is. No kidding. Okay. It's a great way. It's a great way to work the program when there's no other way to get the surplus out. That's in our hybrid system. It's available as an add-on if you buy one of our other programs usually. Also, if you've purchased from us before, open up your ebook, go to the resources page attached to that ebook. And there should be a link on there. Usually it's small at the bottom, but it's past buyer loyalty discounts. And I believe you can pick up the hybrid there for a couple $100, maybe $300-$400. I would do that if it's something you're interested in. Does an encumbrance have to have its own release form? I'm thinking it would, but I'm not sure. Okay, an encumbrance, Lynn, I'm going to make sure that we're on the same page and define it, right? Anything recorded as a debt against the property in the Register of Deeds Department. If it's not released, it'll show in the Register of Deeds if it's released. If it doesn't show release, satisfaction, termination, anything like that, it's still in force. Billy, if I'm going to hire an assistant to assist in my business for panning, do you recommend looking for a person with a certain background and experience? Actually, Billy, I said this earlier. Do it yourself first. Learn it. Okay, because you're responsible for those file submission stuff. Okay. Do it yourself. Learn it. Then if you decide you want to hire somebody to help you, you know how to do it. You can train them. You can't just share information with virtual assistant. That's copyright infringement, right? You got to be able to train. Now, the panning system actually told you how to get around that and hire people to show them how to do it because you really need to do this on your own. It doesn't take a lot of time. And if you're going to be serious about this business, you need to learn it. I mean, it's really that simple. I know everybody's busy, but this is something you can do part-time. Registered Deeds departments are on, and so is all the different areas where you can find opening bids and sales price. All this stuff is open 24/7 online. So I really recommend you do at least your first 20 turn-ins on your own, guys, because it's getting to be a problem with people hiring people and then going, oh, I'm so sorry, my guy screwed up. Hey, that's on you, okay? So you really need to learn it before you try to train somebody else. It's that simple. Okay, Carol says, seems like the HOA took over the house for the amount needed to satisfy the past dues, that price on the deed. Went into the HOA name on the docs, and then the HOA sold it to a third party. Since it went through the HOA and they sold it to a third party, would it still go back to the owner prior to the HOA foreclosure? Okay, what, Carol, you're a little confused. If the HOA got that property, then they foreclosed on it. So who owned it before they foreclosed on it? They owned the surplus funds. Last owner before the foreclosure. Okay. I'm not trying to be rough. You're making this more difficult than it is. The HOA foreclosed, obviously. Okay. That's how they got it. They didn't just get it because they went, oh, you owe us money. Deed's mine. They had to foreclose to do that. So whoever owned it at the time, they're on the surplus. We get that a lot, guys. People will tend to overcomplicate stuff. Maria, perfect. Thank you. Next question. Why don't you do surplus funds from Washington State? We've been looking at that, Maria. We may actually go in there in the future. And right now, there's some problems in there. They're extremely difficult on anybody that's trying to claim, regardless of the technique that they're using. We think they're kind of California light, even though we will work California. But it's just a really difficult state to work. Same thing with Oregon, but we're looking at those states. We may reopen those up at some point. Colorado's just extremely difficult, and we got in trouble with it because our mailing said court-held funds. Okay, court-held funds. Well, they are. We had to go through the court to claim them, but it was being held by a department, so they said that was misleading. So we're out of Colorado. We don't even deal with Colorado. They're being silly. They've got a budget surplus. Because they tax the sale of weed, and they want to lecture other people on ethics and morality. Okay, and they have a budget surplus. Sorry, that's my dog. So, hey, that's enough, guys. That's enough. They're on like super high alert right now. Billy, I'm looking for an employee. Hey, that's enough. That's enough. Billy, I'm looking for an employee that would sit in my office. I have an insurance agency. Very good. Very good, Billy. I have an insurance agency, and some of this program could be used in my agency. That's why I'm asking for the background experience. Guys, I'm going to take a minute and put the dogs in the back room. I'll be right back. I apologize. I normally put them up at the start. Come on. Come on. Good Lord. All right, it was a package delivery, and now I've got the Arlo because we're so excited. That's enough, buddy. I am so sorry, guys. All right. I think that's a great idea, Billy, have an employee come in. It sounds like you're a little bit of old school like me. I like having people in front of me, and you are going to teach them. So as far as the background experience, somebody that's done, it depends on what you're going to do with it. National surplus, you don't have to call anybody, right? So it's all research, data research. Anybody that's been involved in that field, my God, if you could get a title person, title paralegal, that would be awesome. They're going to understand 99% of it. Okay. That's enough, Wiley. Freddie says, is there a way to recover excess proceeds in Clayton and Fulton, Georgia counties after 5 years or so? Due at that time, they escheat to the government. Clayton has about 5 properties that were foreclosed in different years. All right, so the first thing you want to do, Freddie, whenever you see a list, you ask them if it's updated and they're still holding the funds. Okay? Ask them, call them. By the way, I know everybody's afraid. Everybody's afraid of the courthouse. They think that if they ask a question or call the courthouse, there's a black helicopter flying over that courthouse, and they're going to get arrested, for asking a question. Call them and ask them, hey, do you guys still hold it? Did it go to the state? Can I still claim through you? Is this list I'm looking at, is it updated? Can you tell me if you're still holding the funds for these cases? Typically, if you're looking at a current case, or current list, I should say, that's actually updated, and it's got 2024 stuff on it, but also stuff that's very, very old. Typically, they're still holding it, but I would call them. I would call them and ask, hey, are these funds still being held, or did you escheat or send them to the state? But give them a call. Jeff apparently was in agreement with me that maybe the HOA bought it back at the foreclosure. We brought that up earlier. Carol, okay, that seems probably overthinking it. That's right. Maria, last question. My sister and brother-in-law were buying a house. Hold on, I got to go back now because we're buying a house. They paid on it for 18 years, 1996 through 2014. They lost the house. I'm sorry, Maria. That's never an easy thing. They lost the house because they couldn't make the payments any longer. So they just moved out. They have never heard anything more about the house, but I looked it up online. It looks like the guy that bought it did the same thing. So since then, 2 different real estate agencies have real estate agencies have had ownership of it. So they buy it. That's how they get ownership of it. They buy it. My question is, do you think there's a possibility they're owed money back on the foreclosure? Is your hey, Maria, call the county where it happened, find out who held the sale, if it was a mortgage sale or a tax sale, who held it, and ask them. Ask for a final accounting of the foreclosure, and ask them if they're holding money, or if they had money and it was sent on. You'll be able to use their name. Now, some counties will be a little particular. This is very rare. They may ask that they call, but call and ask. Don't make any assumptions. And also, you need to know, yeah, they had a mortgage from 1996 through 2014. Look, when people get in trouble, they don't tell you the full story, okay? So they might have had a first and a second mortgage. So it might have been a first mortgage for $200,000. It sold, and maybe it was about $200,000 was what was owed to the bank at the time, because you really don't pay down the first 10 years, right? Plus then you've got all these expenses with the attorneys coming in. But anyway, let's say it sold for $250,000 and it was $50,000. Make my numbers easy. $50,000 in overage, but there was a second mortgage for $50,000. There's no money to them. They're not going to tell you if they had a second, or if there was a home equity line of credit against the property, or if there was a lien from code enforcement. They're not going to tell you that. So you're still going to have to research debt, even if it's family. Trust me, you can't trust anybody. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. And you're going to have to check into that. They did not have a third party on the dock for closing it. It just went into HOA name, Carol. Yeah, so the HOA foreclosed it. Oh, that's how it went into their name. Maria, LOL, don't feel bad. Dogs do what they do. They're two dachshunds, and they think they're pit bulls. So thank you for that. Thank you for your understanding. Stacy, the plaintiff requested that the court vacate the judgment because the tax lien certs were redeemed. Certificates were redeemed. If the tax lien certificates were redeemed, that means that the owner came in and paid off the past due taxes, and there shouldn't have been a foreclosure. That's why they vacated that judgment of foreclosure. Okay. That same plaintiff is still on the court documents 10 months later. Is that normal? Now the court has ordered the two outstanding mortgages be paid from the sale. Would those two mortgage companies be on the foreclosing entity? Plaintiff requested that would be the foreclosing entity, that the court vacate the judgment. In other words, they said, hey, we don't want to foreclose. That's what I'm reading, Stacy. Okay. Because the tax lien certificates were redeemed. So the plaintiff must have been the county. That same plaintiff is still on the court documents 10 months later. Is that normal? No. Now the court has ordered that the two outstanding mortgages be paid from the sale. Would those two mortgage companies be the foreclosing entity? So read the deed, Stacy. The deed transferring the property. There had to have been a transfer if there was a sale. Okay. Read the deed. And that deed will say who it was transferred from. And we'll also tell you why. If it was a mortgage foreclosing, it'll say, hey, this person owed a mortgage of $120,000 to Wells Fargo Bank, and because of that, they haven't been paying. So now we've transferred this money directly to this new. Read the deed. 90% of the information you need to write on the deed. Rita. Hello. When I signed up for this webinar, I thought you sent me some information to read prior. I couldn't find it. What is the email address it would be from? Thanks. I didn't, Rita. There's a file download right here. Click on that. You should see it on your screen. Download that information. That will help you a lot. Freddie, claimant called me, so I don't have any of the case information besides the addresses and timeframes of the foreclosure. How did they call you, Freddie? They just look you up online? If that's the case, 99% of those are dead end because you don't know who they are. You don't know if they're telling the truth about when to foreclose. You don't know if there's really an overage there. You probably haven't researched that yet. You're going to have to tell them, hey, if you want me to look this up, I'm going to need to know the address that was foreclosed upon, when it was foreclosed, who foreclosed on it, what county, what county was the property in, and go from there. And then you can backtrack through the county if you want to. I try to avoid those guys because 99% of the time it's a huge waste of time. Lynn, so does S-sheet mean it's not available anymore? It usually means it's sent to the state. In some states you can still go after it, but usually, Lynn, it usually means there's an additional delay now if you still make the claim through the county. Some states you still make the claim through the county. The county then has to grant the claim, tap on the shoulder of the state and go, hey, send the money back. We had a grant, this granted. And the state goes, cool. And they get back in 6 months to 9 months to a year. Okay. So if it's already been sent to the state, it's tough to get out. The other option is if it's been sent to the state, sometimes they will actually load it up on the unclaimed money treasurer's site, unclaimed money site online, and you'll be able to find it there. But typically, if it's been executed, it just really makes it a lot more complicated. In other words, sent to the state. Good question. Rita, they are better than the doorbell 20 seconds before it rang. Yeah, they're really good. What is the oldest year we can do a case on? Excuse me, framing. So we kind of covered this a little earlier. We're going to want you to have, if you're going to work National Surplus or Premier 16, we're going to want you to have an updated list. Panning too, it has to be recent, certainly not recent, but an updated list. And if it's not an updated list, if you're not sure it's an updated list, right? You're not sure it was published a month ago online. A lot of them are dated, but if you're not sure it was published online, or rather published recently, and they're keeping track as they go, and they have this older stuff on it, then you're going to need to call and ask if it's still being held. All that is covered in the ebook and on the resources page attached to it. So that should be an indicator of where you're at. Somebody use Q&A again. Let me tell the chat, guys, if you use Q&A, please use the chat. I know it's, again, counterintuitive that I don't want you to use the Q&A system on a Q&A, question and answer webinar, but it requires me to go back and forth between two areas. Real quick, question from Mitchell. I've just started late due to health. I purchased the triple play and the power play. I wish to be a partner. Where do I start? Read the ebook, Mitchell, at least twice. Read it twice. Then watch the videos on the resources page linked from it. If you have questions, use support as outlined in your ebook. Get rolling. If there's updates to the program since you bought it, they'll be on the resources page. You gotta read the program. Question from G. Panning. May I know why the max date to submit a file from sale date? Yeah, because it helps us only go after stuff that we know is still being held. And it maximizes. Whenever we make rules like that, guys, a lot of people will give us heck, right? And say, I don't know why you're doing this or that. Whenever we make rules, it's for the benefit of both of us, for you and us. Question from Jimmy, and I'm going to shut it down. Do you need to be registered finder to assist finding surplus funds at the county level? Depends on the state. Our program, the way that we teach you how to do it, is you're using an attorney and you're using a structured buyout, so it's a whole different animal. And those type of regulations and caps don't apply to you. And that's kind of covered in the ebook. Also, go to surplusfundsriches.net, and on the first page, watch that video. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Looks like we're done. Jeff typically shuts down chat a couple minutes before 8:30 so that I can get to everything. I appreciate everybody coming out. Remember, if you haven't come on board, the next offering for the program, so you can come on board with us, will be May 10th and 11th. Go to surplusfundsriches.net, click on products. There's download. If you didn't download this thing here tonight, there's a download on there. That's an overview of all the programs. There's another download pricing for May. Or if it's not up there, it'll be up there shortly, guys, probably the next day or two. But go on there and download those. Read them carefully. And if you still have questions, you can call me. I'm available 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time at 704. This is pre-purchase questions, not post, okay? 704-791-9398. Thanks, guys.